Hey there, this is Elizabeth, the teaching artist for the Timken Museum of Art. The museum has asked me to create a series of online videos so that people can still connect with the museum and be creative while we all navigate through COVID-19. So while you're staying in place, stay positive and try one of our videos. This first lesson is called Visual Perspective. Make your drawing look real. And then in this next slide, you're going to see what it is that you will be creating. It's not necessary that you match all my colors, but please try to follow along with the drawing in the next slides. But before we start the project, I need to show you what materials you need. Real basic: pencil, eraser, paper, ruler, colored pencils. Next, I need to show you how to draw a boat. You're going to see in this picture that the boat I'm showing you how to draw is just made up of a bunch of basic geometric shapes. Now you're going to watch me do a drawing of a boat using those basic shapes I was just talking about. To get started, I'm just drawing a trapezoid. The next shape after the trapezoid is going to be a parallelogram. Now a parallelogram's got those parallel lines at the top and bottom, and it's a little slanted. It's a little different than a rectangle. The next shape I'm drawing is going to be a rectangular prism. It's not a cube because it's not a square that's made 3D, but it's a rectangular prism because it's a rectangle that we're making 3D. So it's essentially a box. You're drawing a couple of boxes on top of each other. You've got a bigger one and a smaller one. Right there, I'm drawing the smaller one. Now I'm doing the front of the boat. I'm just using a basic triangle. The windows for the cabin of the boat, just using ovals. Next, I'm going to draw the sail, just using a big old narrow triangle. And after that, I just need a super long skinny rectangle to make the mast of the sailboat. I'm going to add one little tiny detail down there around the cabin of the boat and call it done. All right, now it's your turn. You're going to pause the video here, look at the picture in this slide, and copy what you see, using all those basic shapes combined to create a sailboat. Next, I'm going to show you some artist tricks so that your picture will look more real. When you want stuff to look like it's in the foreground, you need to draw your shapes larger, lower on the page, and add more details. When you want things to look like they're in the background, you need to draw your shapes smaller, higher on the page, and use less detail. Using this painting from the Timken Museum of Art as an example, notice how the boats in the foreground of this picture are lower on the page, larger, and more detailed than the boats in the background, which are smaller, less detailed, and higher in the picture. Okay, now I'm going to show you the entire drawing. The first thing you need to do is figure out where you want your horizon line. You can choose to make it lower on the page, middle, or high. It's totally up to you. The next step after you draw the horizon line is you're going to begin with those basic shapes to draw your foreground sailboat. You got the trapezoid, the parallelogram, rectangular prism, pyramid, and rectangle. After you draw the sailboat in front, you got to draw the sailboat in the back. That one needs to be the same pieces and parts as the one you just drew, but it's going to be smaller, higher on the page, and less detailed. The final step of the drawing is to draw in the background. Just draw some simple hills like I'm doing here, and maybe a sunset or sunrise. Next, you can erase some of the pencil marks and add details. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and get your drawing completed. Now we're ready for the color. You're going to start in the background at the top of the page. You can match the colors I'm using, or you can use other colors. Just make sure that you overlap each new color with the previous color. So if you start with a purple, color with the purple, then color with the red, overlap the red, then go to your next color, let's say orange, overlap the orange with the red, then color in with just the orange, move down the page a little bit, get to the yellow, color in the yellow, overlap the orange, color in the sun, and as you've seen, now I've already done the mountains. I'm using blue and purple in the mountains, and then in the water, I'll be using the purple, I'll be using the blue, some of the red, orange, and yellow, because the water will be reflecting the colors in the sky. Notice how I don't fill everything in at first. I leave gaps in between the colors that I then later fill in with other colors, meaning I started with the blue and purple, left some empty spaces. Now you can see I'm filling some of those empty spaces in with the red and with the orange. One thing you gotta look out for is if you put yellow on top of any of the blue, like directly on top of the blue, it's gonna turn green. So put some red down and then put some yellow down, or have a space that's completely blank to put yellow on. Try not to put yellow on top of the blue. Now you can see that I'm coloring in the sails. You can color them in any color you want. And that also goes for the bodies of the sailboats. The cabin can be whatever color you want. The base of the boat can be whatever color you want. I'm just using browns and blues. I am thinking about shadowing though. So you're gonna notice that I made the parts of the boat closer to the water a little darker. And then the parts of the boat that are a little higher up and facing the sun get a little bit lighter. That way we can get a feeling of light and shadow on the boat. Now it's your turn to color in your drawings. Be as expressive as you want, have some fun with it, and be creative.